Good morning to you and many more. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Daring Dialogues. I'm your host today, Shantae Charles. I am starting just a few minutes late today because I am still sleepy. I am recovering from a great weekend. And then I had to get up and be out of my house this morning at 6:15 a.m., which is not normally my wake up time. Um, and then I went back to sleep after I got back from my errand running this early this morning. And so I'm getting a little bit of a late restart for the day. So I hope that everybody is doing well. This is definitely going to be a short show because, as I said, I'm a little bit sleepy. Um, but I know I have to continue with some other activities and projects for the day. So, that being said, it is Monday motivation and motivating Monday and mindset Monday and all of those things. Um, as I was doing my meditation, the thing that came to me this morning is I have the wherewithal to get things done today. And I don't know about you, but today just feels like one of those days where you just come off the weekend and you know you have a lot to get done, but your body is in a hole, is still in wanting to rest state. So I feel that tug. Um, I feel that tug unusually strong this morning. So my weekend went very well. Um, Most of you who are with us on Fridays know we do a lot around financial literacy, around health awareness, around just getting free of different things in our lives. And this weekend, my husband and I, we got a chance to actually reconfigure some things for ourselves financially, which was a great thing and relieved a lot of stress. We did a little bit of making money work for us over this past weekend, and so I'm very thankful for that. We had some car troubles happening, and this weekend we were able to go out and pick out something that we wanted within our budget and walk off the lot with it and be done with a deal in 2.5 hours, which was great. Um, and so I'm very thankful for what we accomplished on this weekend. We got a chance to catch up with some of our chosen family, see my godchildren this weekend. It was very reviving and refreshing. It always is for me when I'm around my godchildren, when I'm around young people. They bring such a energy and a freshness to your life and help you to laugh at yourself a little bit. So that's what we did on this weekend. So I am very thankful um, for how God is blessed. We have been through lots of months lately of just going through family issues that are out of our control. We've been through health issues with my husband's health scare recently, having COVID and pneumonia at the same time, and him being able to recover from that. And then, we've also um, had to deal with some home repair things, with things just breaking down simply because it was time for those things. The lifespan of those things had broken down. So we have just been, I would probably say, since June, July, August, September. Yeah, the last 4 months has kind of just been non-stop things happening. But in the midst of that, okay, but in the midst of that, um, I just feel like we have been able to be consistent in who we are, consistently being able to continue on and to keep going. And so I'm very thankful to be in a place to realize that no matter what happens in your life, no matter what is going on, um, you can keep going. Like the things that happen in your life don't have to stop you. They might slow you down, right? They might delay some things, but you can keep going. And so I'm very, very thankful for that. And again, I don't know what it is about YouTube, but all the weirdness comes out on the YouTube channel. I don't really have this issue on IG. So if you see me pausing, it's because I'm hiding unnecessary comments and people over on YouTube who don't know how to come into a public space and behave like a decent human being. So we are in the month of October, and I want to read a little bit something from A Year of Black Joy. It's 52 Black voices sharing their life passions. And let's see what is in the month of October here today. Just give us a little bit of inspiration. Let's see. Do, 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 do. And these, of course, are black people from um, different professional walks. I think I want to do the joy of buildings. If you have been watching our Sunday dialogue, you know that my husband is about to launch into a new series on remodeling your life and who is your builder. So I think let's take a look at this one. Now, World Architecture Day is supposed to be coming up in October. I'm trying to see what day is World Architecture Day. So let me do that really quickly, just so I give that to you. World Architecture Day. World Architecture Day 2024. Ooh, okay. Well, we are right on time. I'm so excited. World Architecture Day is today. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So we are on the right setting. And the architect here, her name is Sade Akinsanya. And we're going to talk about the joy of buildings. It says, you'll often find me looking up, sketchbook in hand, taking inspiration from the incredible buildings in my home city of London, England. Growing up, I spent my free time doodling away in a notepad. This creative streak led me to become an architect, using the skills I honed as a child, plus skills I've learned along the way to design buildings. And the learning doesn't stop. I find my brain is constantly untangling puzzles in the form of constructions. I'm forever in awe at the structures I pass by on my way to work in London. And I believe great buildings serve as the identity of a city. People in different parts of the world use different materials and styles based on what is available around them, what works in their climate, and what is their cultural identity. Our connection to the environment around us is what brings us joy. Happiness is design that reflects our natural world and therefore our place in it. Our connection to the environment around us is what brings us joy. London's Architecture Walk with Sade. When it comes to architectural excellence, London is bursting with innovative buildings and is blessed with a mixture of old and new. The British Library was the largest public building constructed in the 20th century by architects Sir Colin St. John Wilson and M.J. Long. Disguised the building's true size with a ceiling that actually rises in increments to not overwhelm visitors. Another building in London, St. Paul's Cathedral, an oasis of calm within the bustling city. The architect behind its design, Sir Christopher Wren, created the famous hemispherical outer dome to dominate the skyline between 1670 1955 and 1711 after the previous building was burned down in the Great Fire of London in 1666. The Shard, designed by Renzo Piano, it was built as a place where people could live, work, and relax. Today it stands as the tallest building in the UK and features 11,000 glass panels. And originally designed in the 1930s, the Batteria power station once provided 20% of London's electricity. Today it stands as the largest brick building in Europe and provides its community with homes, shops, and restaurants. Now, my question to you today would be, since it's World Architecture Day, do you have a favorite building? Is there a favorite building or a building that you've always wanted to go to or a building you've always wanted to see in person? Um, when I think about it, I think probably the place I've wanted to go that I haven't been yet would be the White House. Um, I've been on the White House lawn. I've done some praise and worship on the White House lawn, but I have not actually been inside of the White House. Interestingly enough, though, several people took it upon themselves on January 6th to make their way inside of the White House without an appointment. But you do have to make an appointment and if you want to do a tour of the White House. And sometimes, I think the last time that we tried to do that, they were closed when we had the free time to go. So we wound up not going. All right. Speaking of building, I was doing a little bit of, obviously I do reading online here, but I also do my own personal reading. And I was reading up on African art this past weekend. I think I read, let me see, 5 books over the weekend on African art, just refreshing myself with the different territories, refreshing myself with the different kinds of art. I do lectures on art all the time. I haven't done one on African art in a while. And so I was going back and I was looking at all of the different kinds of art that is out there. And it was amazing to me because even though I was focused primarily on West African art, you could still see that even though it was different regions, you could still see style, what we call style consistencies in the art. So even if it was like Ghana versus Nigeria versus, you know, Benin art, you could still see a through line in the kinds of art that they were creating. I thought about that because I know that so many times have noticed how people talk about African art and how people sometimes look at African art. And I know this is especially true in African American culture. Sometimes we look at their art and we say, oh, that is demonic, or we say, oh, that's not of God. And just actually going and looking and studying these artworks and these art forms, you will come away with a different opinion once you actually study and look at what was happening in their cultures, look at what these things actually symbolize, rather than just looking at something that you don't understand or you don't know the interpretation of and just assuming that it is something quote unquote demonic. So I want to encourage people, if you haven't done some study around African art, go to your local library, check out some books. And I would even recommend starting with the children's section and finding a children's book on African art, just to give yourself an introduction and a starting place. Because what you're going to find is a lot of things that people have demonized actually is not demonic. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But I was looking through. This is an older book that I have. This is an older book that I have called A Short History of African Art, and I got this from Thrift Books. I do find that the older copies of these kind of books, when you're trying to do a more in-depth study, the older copies seem to have um, a better history, a better detail of some things than some of these newer versions of these art history books. I noticed some things have been taken out. Um, so I wanna show you one. I'm trying to find it here as I look. I don't want to interrupt or be rude, but is there any proof that God exists, like scientific? Um, I would say this to your question. I would say that science does not contradict the existence of God. And I would say the existence of God does not contradict science. I would also say if you study some of the our original scientists, a lot of them believed in God. The issue came when the especially the Catholic Church at the time was trying to make them believe certain doctrines about God that science did not agree with their doctrine. And when science did not agree with their doctrine, they did in fact persecute a lot of the early scientists and had them killed because their doctrines went against what science was proving to be true. So over here we believe in science, and we believe in the existence of a higher power, creator of all things, maker of makers. So I hope that answers your question. And I am still not finding what I want to find. So let me just point out one thing here. I'll point out this here. Um, this is this is a well-known object out of Benin. This is metalwork, and this is the head for a deceased Oba, and Oba was a king in the Benin City Court in what is now the area that we would call Nigeria. And this is located in the Wrightburg Museum. So this is a museum piece that would have been taken from this particular kingdom and put into the museum. Um, I've seen people look at objects like this and say, "Oh, this was some, foreign god or whatever." No, it's their representation of their king at the time. So it's not a god, but it is a representation of their king. Now, the other thing that I would note here is that it is believed to be from the dates 1475 to 1525. This would have been a time period where, obviously, through enslavement, some of the people who lived in this area would have gone into enslavement. But if you look at the work that they did, clearly this is a highly advanced society that's doing this work, that's doing this casting and this carving and this detail. Um, so when I hear people say things like, you know, black people or descendants who were brought over to the Americas, that they were just uneducated or they didn't have any skills, or um, they were just these wild savages, all this stuff. This is what they were doing in 1400s. Okay, so that gives you an idea that somebody's lying. Somebody's lying somewhere. Okay. They were doing this in the 1400s before they were kidnapped and taken to the Americas. So, just a little something to make you think. All right. That's all I wanted to share for today. I hope that you are having, again, a great and wonderful day. It is World Architecture Day. If you want to drop me a message and let me know what is your favorite building or what building you want to see that you have not seen, or what structure you want to see that you have not seen. I know a lot of people want to go to Paris to see the Eiffel Tower. And then when they get there, they tell me that they're disappointed by the size of the Eiffel Tower, or they're disappointed by the environment surrounding the Eiffel Tower. I don't know. I haven't seen it in person. But what I do know is that the Eiffel Tower was built, partly built by enslaved persons. A lot of people don't know that um, when they go to the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. So you can thank the enslaved persons that helped to build the Eiffel Tower. And if you're African American going over there to see the Eiffel Tower, you're going over there to see some history that enslaved persons had a hand in building. Just another little tidbit for you. All right. I'm going to sign off for YouTube. If you want to join me for a little bit of time to converse and talk back, we're going to be over on IG at Daring Dialogues is the handle if you want to come join us there for the rest of this conversation. If not, I'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Be well, and most importantly, be light.